Hey guys, and welcome back to another thrilling episode. And today what I want to show you is the video or the review of Lego Heavy Harry. Now this locomotive has just recently been upgraded. Since I finally finished upgrading the locomotive, I reckon it's finally time to review this locomotive. I don't think I've reviewed this locomotive before. If I have, then I'm sorry about that, but at least on the bright side, this locomotive is looking a little more better. Actually, a lot more better than what it used to. So this locomotive is the locomotive that currently sits in the museum somewhere in Melbourne. So Dad and I have gone over there before and saw this locomotive sitting in the museum. His name is Heavy Harry, so its number is H220, which you can clearly see on my locomotive. We should be able to see at the front, hopefully. And there's also some news about a special train that may potentially be coming in a couple of weeks or months. This special train is kind of a repeated train, but it's not 100% repeated. It's just the exact same model they've already built before, just in different colours. Now you guys can put your guesses down below in the comments below if you guess on what locomotive you think I'm going to repeat in different colours. But yeah, I'll give you a hint. It is a steam locomotive. There's also an update with the General Lee that I wanted to show you as well, and what's going to happen to the General Lee later on in the future with extra functions or even more curves and whatnot to make the model look even better. And also a brand new model coming as well, Dizzy from Bob the Builder. I've just recently finished designing her, just gonna polish her up, but she is mostly completed, so I'll be showing her off as well in today's video. So let's get to it. So this locomotive has 8 massive big drive wheels connected to the middle, with trailing wheels and the front wheels as well, also called bogies. The bogies are basically wheel parts that are attached to the locomotive that allow it to turn and follow the curve and the rails. So this locomotive is one of my biggest and longest locomotives I've ever built, and as you can see, it's got a lot of black on it, not much colours, but that is how the real locomotive looks in the museum as well. So the model I designed it off, or based it off, was the first one of Heavy Harry, which Heavy Harry, believe it or not, went through 2 different stages in his lifetime. When he was on the rails, he had like a low cab nose, the kind of the first design that I had before. And this upgraded version is the new design of Heavy Harry. You should be able to see some subtle differences from the real locomotive, from what it was like back in its running days, and now what it is like in the museum. The tender is also pretty big. It's got I gave it 8 wheels in total, including those 2 bogies. In total, it would have actually had 12, I believe. Yeah, 12 wheels. But I have 8 because I took out the 2 middle wheels in the bogie, because if you added those third wheels, then you will actually end up with some issues on railway mode. And he won't be able to turn the curves unless you did something with the wheels, but it doesn't really matter at the moment. Can't really tell. So yeah, this locomotive is not the best on railway mode. I have done a few stuff with the locomotive, but there's not a whole heap that it does very well. It can carry itself and extend around the rails just fine, which is really nice. 1 passenger carriage is when it gets a little difficult, and then 2 passenger carriages is when the entire thing just stops working. It's because due to the fact when Heavy Harry goes around curves, the back bogie, let me see if I can point to that. There we go, that back bogie right there swerves really far off the cab section, so there's so much weight that's putting all on that one bogie that just completely comes off the tracks and derails the whole train. It's quite annoying indeed. So let's check out the details and what makes this locomotive so cool. So we come over to here. You can see Heavy Harry's big drivers on the side. All the detailing, lining the boiler. This is a thing I changed. Was this? I made it more of a curve. That looks much nicer. Heavy Harry's front has changed a little bit as well. Sorry guys. It's changed a little bit. You can see that. Oh, that's a very nice view of that locomotive. But yeah, and I've changed the cow catcher. It looks much better now. The front's been changed, and there's an extra piece on the boiler to give Heavy Harry to put minifigure arms on for his smokebot hinges for the front on the real locomotive. Now we come over to the back of this locomotive. You can see that grey part, which is called the ash pan. I haven't quite finished that yet because there's supposed to be another slope, like a 1x3. As you can see, there's a gap there. That'll be covered up in a 1x3. And yeah, the cab's also being shortened, so that looks nice too. The number plate's been shortened, so I have to get a whole new number plate as well. Tender itself is stayed basically the exact same. And yeah, that's basically about it. This locomotive hasn't really had a whole heap of a change, but it did definitely make some really nice changes. Now at first glance, you probably don't notice much. Probably don't notice any difference at all. But if you have a quick close-up, I'll go for the front view. What looks different? Well, I'll tell you what's different. If you haven't guessed it already or seen it already, then the difference is the General Lee's front window. They are officially on angles instead of going flat straight down like the back is. Now eventually I'm going to curve the back as well, but yeah, I actually angled the front windows and those look really nice, honestly. Because on Sunday last week, I was actually able to put my Lego General Lee next to a real model of the General Lee. Obviously not the real car, but the actual model. Like, it was a little smaller than mine, but it was actually decently pretty big. I'll show you those pictures near the end of the video, and of course I'll show you Dizzy near the end of the video as well. But yeah, that's basically the General Lee's upgradation. Now steering, this car will 100% be getting steering, since we now know officially how to add steering to the model, so it was just a matter of time now before we officially add it to the model. That's basically it with the General Lee's upgradations. Heavy Harry is done. And finally, the surprise model. I got a whole pack of Lego here. As you can see, that's all dark blue. That's another hint of what locomotive I will be making or repeating in a different color. Here's an even more of a closer hint. It's out of these 3 steam locomotives. Which one do you think has been recolored in dark blue before? But yeah, that's basically just about it for this video review. And I'm glad I've finally gone back to the train content of my Lego locomotives, since I have kind of stayed away from that stuff for a little bit, going back to Bob the Builder and the General Lee, of course. But honestly, I think those are a pretty nice variety. But of course, what makes the roots of this channel up is of course you guys and my Lego model trains, which is what started it all. What my channel was originally supposed to be based off. And yeah, don't you worry, there'll be more Lego trains coming in the future. And yeah, that's basically about it. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys all next time. Bye!